I walked into a small family dinner to find 80 guests and a banner for baby Emily. Mom smirked, "We spent your bonus on Family Joy." I said nothing. That night, I froze their accounts, reversed every transaction, and took back my $9,800. By morning, the property was in my name. So, my mom was basically glowing with excitement, like it was the Oscars or something. She throws her arms out and yells surprise. With so much enthusiasm that even the folks hanging out by the shrimp platter could hear her. Then, in a slightly lower voice but still loud enough, she says, "We spent your bonus on Family Joy," and chuckles like it's a joke. Meanwhile, I'm just standing there totally stunned because, get this, I hadn't even told them about the bonus. I might have mentioned a raise or a good quarter at work, but definitely not the actual bonus amount. I just said, "Noted," trying to keep it cool, but nobody picked up on my flat tone. They were too busy prancing around in pastel outfits. My sister Emily was in this white lacy dress, looking like she was some kind of royalty. Yeah, that's the same sister who forgot to pay back last year's rent and called me an emotionless calculator at Christmas just because I didn't cry at some sappy Hallmark movie she made us watch. After everyone finally left and the balloons were starting to droop, I logged into my bank account. I didn't shout or cry. I just quietly reversed 14 transactions and took out the whole $9,800 bonus from the family savings account I had stupidly agreed to set up. It had my name on it too, so technically it wasn't theft, just putting things right. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone, I just needed to keep my sanity intact, not out of revenge, but for some truth and clarity. By the next morning, everything felt different, not just because of the pile of garbage bags by the door. I found a post-it on my old room's door with my mom's handwriting. "Please don't overreact. We did it for Emily. She's family. She needs this." I left the note there, grabbed my laptop, and opened a folder I swore I'd never use called receipts. If they wanted to start a war over Family Joy, they were gonna learn what it really cost. For 5 days after that so-called small family dinner, I didn't talk to them. 5 days of silence, no texts, no calls, just me and a Google Sheets file tracking every dollar I'd sent their way since 2021. Rent payments, $6,300. Medical bills, $2,480. Emily's emergency car repair, $1,900. Groceries, $125 per month for ages. My mom's wine subscription is still active. Basically, I've been like an ATM with a Wi-Fi password. On the 6th day, my sister calls, but I don't pick up. Then my mom leaves a voicemail saying, "Honey, we know you're upset but you're overreacting. It was just a dinner. Emily's having a baby. She needs support right now." I played that message 5 times. Not a single, "thank you" or "sorry." So, I decided to visit, not because I missed them, but because I had questions. When I got to their place, Emily's shiny new SUV was parked out front. Yep, the same one she claimed she couldn't afford a down payment on just 2 months ago. I recognized the dealership sticker, I'd even co-signed for her. She said it was for job interviews. Instead, she's been hosting influencer brunches with pastel macaron and overpriced centerpieces. I've seen the reels, the hashtags. I walked in without knocking. "Hey!" Emily chirps from the dining table, surrounded by baby bloom boxes. "Look who decided to show up." My dad looks up from the kitchen, "Don't be dramatic. Your sister's pregnant." "So," I said, "so it's okay you blew my bonus on a fake baby shower with 80 guests?" He scoffs, "It's called giving back to the family. Try it sometime." I just stared at him and said, "I gave you $9,800. He snaps back, "What? You want a parade for that?" My mom jumps in, "We thought it'd be good for everyone. Joy brings blessings. Joy brings overdraft fees," I replied. Then Emily stands up, looking like the villain in a Netflix drama, and says, "You always make it about you. Just admit it. You hate seeing other people happy." That was it, the moment I realized they were never going to change. I walked out again. That night, I dug through a hard drive I'd been meaning to check out. A backup drive from before I moved out. Turns out Emily had used it once and forgot to delete everything. I found everything: fake texts, spliced voicemails, fraudulent insurance claims. I made a new folder, Family Ledger, and printed it all out. The next morning my dad texts me, "Emily said you were looking through old files. Let it go. Don't do something you'll regret." I replied, "Too late. You should have thought of that before the Shrimp Tower." Then it got worse. I checked my credit report and found 3 new inquiries from banks in their city. So, here's what went down. My mom tried to open a credit card using my name and social security number. I recognized her handwriting on the application and she didn't even forge my signature well. Naturally, I confronted my family in our group chat, sharing all the evidence I had, like screenshots and everything. I told them they had 48 hours to explain themselves before I took action, then hit send. Things got tense. My aunt bailed from the chat, while Emily piped up saying it was harassment. My dad just sent a thumbs up emoji, very helpful. And Mom? She accused me of tearing the family apart. Then, 47 hours later, my bank hits me up about a $4,500 wire transfer they blocked, meant for something called the Harris Family Trust. I was like, what the heck is that? They asked if I knew an E. Harris. Yeah, it's my sister. I told them I never approved anything like that and filed a fraud report right away. Minutes later, Emily emails me with just a subject line, "This is not what Mom wanted." No message, no signature, nothing. I didn't even bother replying. By Friday, the situation was exploding. Family friends started calling, my uncle jumped in, even a cousin I hadn't heard from since 2014 got involved. Someone on LinkedIn sent me a sly message wishing me well and hinting at some weird things they'd heard. Weird doesn't even begin to cover what they did, trying to throw a fake gala using my name and all. But I wasn't done there. That weekend, I met with a family lawyer, bringing along a folder packed with receipts, organized by type, financial, digital, emotional. I showed her the backup files, the forgeries, the texts. Her one-word response? Leverage. Then she asked me the big question, "What do you want?" I just smiled and said I was aiming for some fireworks. On Friday morning, my dad texted me, "No hello, just straight to let's talk man to man." And he meant it, literally. The workshop he mentioned was the old shed in their backyard, complete with a rusty toolbox, a cracked light bulb, and a dusty sign saying "Work hard or shut up." I didn't reply, I just went. When I got there, he was already sitting with a beer and a cigarette tucked behind his ear, acting like we were about to watch a game. He asked if I was ready to drop the drama. No, I told him. I was there to see if he still had the guts to talk to me. He laughed it off and tried to say Emily's pregnancy was a reason to keep things quiet, avoiding lawyers and banks. Then he got to the point, he wanted me to pull back the fraud claim. I just pulled out my tablet and let him hear a recorded call between him and Mom. He won't even notice. He's soft. He went white. "It's out of context," he stammered, but I was ready with more, a scan of a loan application in my name, his handwriting, and forged signature. Emily even posted on Instagram about her silent investor's guilt bonus. Dad started to crumble, saying Emily needed the help, and he knew I was strong enough to bounce back. I asked flatly if that made robbing me okay. He couldn't answer. I tossed a manila envelope on the table, a copy of the fraud report with the original already in the hands of an investigator. Then, Jake walked in, Emily's ex, who she'd claimed was all sorts of terrible. Turns out, he had a lot to say. He laid out everything, the fake pregnancy, her threats, how she'd planned to ruin his reputation. He said she thought I was weak but found out I was the only one with a backbone. As Jake played audio clips of her bragging about using me, my dad just stood there, shocked. He started to say he didn't know, but I cut him off. "You chose not to know," I said, and finally looked him straight in the eye. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. And hit the notification bell to stay updated with more crazy real-life stories happening around you. You really lost me, not just for now, but for good. So, I walked out. As I stepped outside into the night, I heard Jake's voice behind me, calm yet sharp, saying, "By the way, Jack, if you or any of those people come after me again, I'm going public." By morning, something was different about the house. A notice was slapped on the front door. It was a bright orange, legal-looking paper about the sale of shared interest, basically screaming serious business. By noon, things were blowing up. Emily called me 23 times, my mom sent 3 crying voice notes, and my dad shot me one text saying, "You were making a mistake you can't undo." I didn't bother replying. Instead, I uploaded a folder named Family Transparency Initiative, no drama, no hashtags, just straight up facts. Inside were PDFs, screenshots, recordings, loan documents in my name, audio of Emily bragging about using me, photos of the crazy expensive baby shower, and a timeline of all the lies and public embarrassments. Oh, and the letter confirming I'd sold my half of the house to a legal firm. They never realized I still had a stake in it. They thought I was bluffing, forgetting who they raised. The fallout was quick. A neighbor shared a photo of the notice on Facebook, captioning it "Harris House in Trouble." Another neighbor commented, saying, "About time someone stood up to those people." Later that afternoon, a local blog reached out. They'd seen the docs and wanted a quote, so I gave them just one line: "Sometimes you gotta burn the legacy to escape the inheritance." They ran with it as the headline. That night, my mom went on a Facebook rant, 7 paragraphs calling me ungrateful, claiming I'd betrayed the family. She even posted an old pic from 2009, braces and acne, with the caption, "I raised this boy and this is how he thanks me." It got 14 likes, all from family I haven't talked to in ages. Teresa chimed in with sending prayers, "Stay strong." I didn't respond, but I did go on LinkedIn and removed every family connection. Didn't want them tied to me. 3 days later, Emily uploaded a video, looking all teary-eyed with dramatic piano playing in the background. She said, "Sometimes people break you and they call it justice. My brother used to be my best friend. I don't know who he is anymore." The comments were rough. Someone wrote, "Isn't this the girl who faked DMs and forged loan papers?" Another said, "She's why women get accused of lying." Someone else synced her audio with baby shower photos. The internet did its thing, turning all this mess into entertainment. Jake hit me up a week later, saying she claims she's pregnant again, probably a lie. "I blocked her," he said. "You did the right thing, man. Wish I had your guts," he added. I didn't feel like a winner, just clear-headed. Big difference. My dad stayed quiet the longest, until a letter showed up at my place. No return address, just a typed message: "You think you've won, you haven't. Men like you crawl back when it gets too quiet. You'll crawl back." Signed it as the man who made you. I laughed because he didn't make me, he tried to break me. What made me was all those years of silence, pretending, and biting my tongue while they took everything and called it love. The law firm that now owned half the house sent them a formal letter: either buy out the interest or leave in 90 days. Guess shared ownership isn't so easy. I forwarded it to Emily with a note saying, "You threw a $10,000 party. Let's see how you handle property taxes." She replied with just an emoji. I didn't block her, I just didn't care. That weekend, I posted one last update, a photo of a new sign outside my place. It was for my new studio downstairs: Burn Ledger, Personal Strategy, and Digital Forensics. That's what I called it because if they ever try again, I'll be ready. And if someone else feels trapped like I did, I'll help them fight back. The check cleared on a Thursday, $11,748 direct deposit from selling my piece of the Harris family home. It wasn't a gift, it was payback, and it was mine. Took months of depositions, court filings, and a forensic audit. But justice doesn't have to be loud, it just needs to be final. The judge read the verdict in under 5 minutes. The defendant knowingly forged financial documents using the plaintiff's identity to secure personal gain by fraud. Full closure. So here's how it went down. The court ordered a repayment with a penalty and all those extra costs. My dad didn't even bother showing up for the last hearing. Instead, he just sent a note through his lawyer, claiming it was all a witch hunt and he wasn't going to play along. Meanwhile, Emily was sitting in the corner looking like she just bombed an audition. Head down, lips tight, no tears this time, just silence. My mom was glued to the ruling, probably hoping someone would jump in and stop it, but of course, nobody did. By the next morning, our house had a for sale sign in the yard. Fast forward a week and it had new owners. They totally changed it up, tore out the flower bed, yanked out the mailbox, and painted the shutters black. It didn't even feel like a family home anymore. It was like they were wiping the slate clean. That afternoon, my lawyer called. She told me they transferred the money and I'd get a confirmation soon. Legally, they couldn't contact me anymore, and if they tried, I was supposed to let her know first. I thanked her, and she mentioned that she'd handled a lot of cases like mine, but never seen one wrapped up so neatly. I didn't have much to say, felt like everything was already taken care of. That night, I sat on the floor of my new office. It was quiet and tidy, hardwood floors, no mess. I got this big company sign earlier that day. Slowly, I uncovered it, revealing Burn Ledger Strategic Recovery and Risk Defense underneath. To me, never again really meant never again. I wasn't out for revenge, I just wanted peace. I hung that sign on the door myself, drilled the holes, screwed it in, all on my own. That's just how things have always been for me. A week later, a letter arrived at my old P.O. box. Handwritten, messy, with a torn envelope. It said, "You've made your point. We lost the house. Emily's struggling. Mom's not well. If you still care, call us." I just put it back in the envelope, taped it shut, and fed it through the shredder. That same day, I walked into a credit union and closed the last joint account I had with them. The banker asked if I was really sure about it since it was a permanent move. I nodded, that was exactly the point. She slid a folder my way for the final account closure. I signed it without a second thought and handed her a note I had ready. It said to let all the cardholders know the account no longer existed, and any charges would be declined. The next morning, Emily tried charging $112.99 at some fancy baby store, but it bounced. She tried again, and it bounced even harder. That's when she texted me, promising to pay everything back if I just stopped this. I replied with $1,942.16, that was her debt. She never replied after that. They didn't pay the full amount. The penalty was from the court, but for me, the real win was the silence. No more late night calls, no more feeling guilty, no more being their go-to escape. They thought they could use our family ties against me, but I'd cut ties with needing them. That Friday, I changed my number. Only 3 people got the new one. The old number was still out there, still linked to the joint Netflix account my mom hadn't deleted. Let her wonder who I am when she sees this profile is no longer available. The last thing I did was donate $2,000 from the settlement to a legal defense fund for adults dealing with financial abuse within families. Didn't post about it, didn't tell anyone. I just hit submit and moved on. Then I stepped out to my balcony with a cup of black coffee, soaking in the quiet. For the first time in ages, I wasn't calculating anything, no budgeting, no strategizing, no apologizing, just breathing. Some stories end with a family reunion. Mine ended with clarity. I wasn't wrong for being used, but sticking around would have been on me. They called it betrayal. I called it freedom. They saw conflict, but I found closure. They thought I'd come crawling back, but I didn't. I cashed the check, changed the locks, and never looked back.